Hi guys! So today I am gonna introduce you to my babies, to my little babies, because I was supposed to have an edit from this weekend together. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I lost my GoPro this weekend at the event in Val Thorens. Instead of showing you my first mini edit on the park in VT, I'm gonna do a little gear presentation for you guys today. So I'm gonna start with my everyday board. It is a board that is obviously from Furlan, my board sponsor. So I've got it in a 146. The model is called the Amy. I've got switchback bindings on there. Switchback don't do bindings anymore, but they're the exact same as battalion bindings now, so you can still get them. I like them because you've got this wraparound bit that goes sort of around your boot, a little bit on the high back, and it just seems to hold my foot in really well. I like the way it feels. I think Burton do a similar kind on a men's binding, but these come in different sizes so girls can ride them as well. What I love about switchback bindings, or now battalion bindings, is how comfortable they are. Like, I was adamant that Union were the only bindings for me, and then I put my foot in this one and I completely loved it. So yeah, it is a bit fiddly setting it all up, but you're only going to do that once, so it doesn't really matter. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, they're so heavy. They're not that heavy. They're really not. I really like them. I think they're the most comfortable bindings I've ever had. You've got this hammock strap above your ankle strap, so it's basically taking all the tension off from the actual strap, so you don't feel the strap pushing down on the top of your boot so much. And then you've obviously got the cap strap that every brand does now, that just pushes your foot back as well as down, instead of the old over the top of the toes strap. Board that I ride, so it's the Amy. It's a 146. So I 172, 5'7.5", I think that is, for people who don't use the metric system. And it's a completely flat camber. So this is the board I was riding last year, so you can tell, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you can tell that, you can probably remember that that's the board that I damaged a little bit on a rail. Anyway, it doesn't matter because it's the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, I recommend using an old board anyway. It's rock season, there's not much snow yet. You don't know where those pesky little rocks are going to be, so you're much better off not taking out your brand new gear just yet. There's nothing worse than damaging your brand new board, even if it's just a base shot and it doesn't hit the core. It's just so annoying to have to put a bit of black P-Tex on the base of your brand new board. So I advise, just keep your old board out for the beginning of the season, and if you fuck it up, it'll just be a street board that you can ride on concrete. So this is a flat camber. It's quite soft. It's like a 4 stiffness, and it's a really fun board. The advantage of having a completely flat base is that you can bend it pretty much every single way. Like you can. It's so playful. It's super poppy as well. It's not going to be as poppy as a board I had before, which had camber in between the bindings, but it's still super poppy. And what's super fun for someone like me who doesn't have the biggest power in my legs is that I can bend it, and I can tail press, and I can nose press, and I can do butters a lot more easily than I was able to on a board with camber in between the bindings. What I love about this board is how fun it is. It'll just do anything you put it through. The transition from edge to edge is super quick. It's standard width, but the transition is super quick. I think it's because it's got quite an old school shape where the waist of the board isn't too cinched in. So it means that you've got an effective edge that is quite long, which as well is good for for a board that's quite a bit shorter. It's got a very small scoop on the nose and the tail. So the effective edge is really from the top of the nose all the way to the bottom of the tail, which probably adds anyways those 2 or 3 centimeters that I've been missing, which is probably why I love it so much, because it's essentially like the same as riding something that would be a tiny bit longer. It's so reactive, like for a board that doesn't have camber in between the bindings, it's super reactive, and it's actually got a lot of pop, and I think that's why I find it so fun to ride. Also, the advantage of not having camber in between the bindings and having a flat camber is that the catching an edge on boxes or rails is virtually impossible. I'm saying this now, I'm sure I'm going to eat shit this winter. Karma's going to strike back, but it is honestly a lot easier to ride than something with classic camber. So I'll put a few edits of what I've done on this board.
Look at my neck, bright. I get that check right. I'm so blessed, right? Off of that jet pipe, off of that side. I'm in that new coupe. My nigga, I been fired. I said what I said, right? Yeah, I get that check right. I'm so blessed, right? Off of that jet pipe, off of that side. I'm in that new coupe. My nigga, I been fired. I get that check right. Look. I don't do no fake love. Tell Lil' bruh shape up. The way we lit, they throwing shade, but they never say nothing. Bitch, I'm that maze runner. I been on the stage done. My drip on Blade Runner. And the way we move, it ain't no creases on my A1s. 2021, about to be mine, word to my day ones. Niggas shooting blindside, I aim straight for the frames, huh? I don't take no L's, my boy, I learn from y'all mistakes, huh?
Is this one. So this one is called the Love Humanity, so it's obviously my powder board. It's a lot bigger. I think it's a 156. For some reason I can't find it, but I think it's a 156. So still Furlan, Snowboards, Furlan, is how you write it. And yeah, so you can tell that it's a powder board because it's completely asymmetric. It means that you've got a lot shorter of a tail than a nose. The nose is gonna be a lot longer. Why? Because in powder you want your nose to stay out of the snow to keep above the snow. So that means that your weight is going to be slightly towards the tail, which is going to press the tail down and keep the nose up. So this board is got a slight camber in between the bindings. So that means that from this section to this section, I'm going to exaggerate it here for you. You've got the board that goes like this, and then it goes to flat, and then it goes to rocker at the top. So the rocker at the top is obviously to keep your nose out of the snow. And the advantage of having camber in between the bindings is the pop. Your pop is going to be so much harder, it's going to be so much faster, and it's going to basically help you to pop your weight out of the snow. Anything that's going to have that shape, if you force it against itself, it's going to snap back quickly. So it's going to really give you that aggressive pop that you need. The advantage of having camber only in between the bindings, which is what they do now, when you catch an edge, it's usually in these areas. So that's why they've started doing camber just in between the bindings, because it makes it not a lot easier, just your ride is a lot smoother and you still keep that pop. You can still have that pop when you want it. This board is so much fun. Like, I didn't think I could ride a board that was so big, like I said to you before, like even though I'm tall, I'm quite small. And it's a men's board, so I thought it was going to be way too big, way too this, way too that. I absolutely love it. I even took it through the park. It was so great. Like, anyone can ride this board. It's so playful. It's soft, but since you have that camber in between the bindings, you get that pop. You still get that edge digging in if you really want to start carving on the slopes. It is the most fun board to carve on. Like, you can just get so low. It's amazing. And on this board, I have the bindings, the union bindings that are called the Stratas. I think that's what they're called. I haven't worked in a shop in so long that all the names of products are just like out. But yeah, they were the new union bindings a couple years ago, and they made them for women and for men. And they're really cool. They're super light, and they're quite stiff for union bindings, and the straps are super comfortable. They've put like this meshy material so that the ankle strap is completely soft, which once again means that it doesn't press down on the top of your ankles, on the top of your foot as much at all, and it just doesn't give you any of those pressure points in your boots. And then the cap strap is Union's typical silicone cap straps, and those I think are some of the best as well. Like, you can't feel them, they're absolutely awesome. The only thing you have to remember with Union bindings, it's just something that we tell people in the store when they buy Union bindings, you have to remember, so they always have toolless technology on the bindings. So toolless technology, these little bits here, so they're, as the name suggests, toolless, so you can just screw and unscrew. The only thing is that you have to, once in a while, screw them back on, because they do tighten them, because they do tend to loosen. So that is the only thing I would say about Union bindings that you have to sort of keep an eye on. Other than that, I think they're amazing. And yeah, these bindings I've had for 2 years now. These I've had for 2 years as well. It's quite good to have 2 sets of bindings, because when you change boards, I'm too lazy to change it over all the time. It's very easy to do, I'm just super lazy, and I like having a pair of bindings on each board, and that way I can just run out depending on the weather. Alright guys, that was the board and binding review. I hope you liked it. I will get a boot review out to you guys as soon as possible. Tips on how to pick your boots according to your feet, and a few tips on how to get those boots molded to your feet a little bit quicker so you don't get those initial tingles. I hope you guys like this episode. Hit subscribe, hit like, that will help me out a lot, and I will catch you guys soon.